The Manchester United first team squad report back to training this morning at Carrington. Can you believe that? But Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho, Antony, Jadon, Sancho, Tyrell Malacia have been told not to report back to allow them more time to find themselves a move away. How does that work? Is the onus on them?
Well, yes and no, isn't it? I mean, it's as much on the club. The club holds the registrations. They obviously don't want them in the building. They don't need more time. They're not running around doing it themselves, are they? I mean, we are capable of multitasking. You know, we can walk, talk and chew gum, can't we? And so can they. So the reality of it is that's just a blanket cover message to say we don't want you in the building, because their agents are going to be the ones that are initiating calls. And maybe there is an element of, well, hang on a second, if a player has to go to medical, we don't really want to rip him off the training ground to do it. Right. But I think it's the right stance.
Well, see, that's the point, Simon. Is extended leave then a better practice for clubs to adopt than forcing players to train with the reserves? Or with the kids?
Well, I don't think it's right or wrong in either which way. It's what best suits the circumstances of the time. I mean, it doesn't help your commercial negotiations that you are so alienated from the player that you are clearly in a situation where you don't want him anywhere near the building, which means that people are going to take advantage of that commercially. But I mean, United aren't. I mean, I know that some of the things they've done are stupid, and some of the things that comes out of certain people in their building, like we're running out of money, is nonsense. But they will know what they're doing, and ultimately, if they're suggesting to the representation of the players, get yourselves in gear, work harder at getting an outcome. I mean, we can all run around like Marcus Rashford saying, "I want to play for Barcelona." Oh, I'm sure you do, but your form hasn't dictated that you can play for Accrington Stanley.
I mean, it is an odd look, isn't it? You know, take a bit more time, come back when you've got somewhere.
It's an embarrassing look, isn't it? That why is it there are so many players that don't seem to be integrated properly into the group? The manager obviously didn't want to take the job initially, did he? He wanted a fresh start, which he's going to get now. It's probably a reality check for the players. We're being told officially that the players have said they want to go, so that's why they're not being integrated with the group. But surely Manchester United are going to have to lower the transfer prices for some of these players if there's any deals done. I don't see any deals being done anytime soon. Jim, these are all top players. You know, Rashford, you ridicule, but he went to Villa, and by the end of it, okay, he pulls a hamstring, but he was starting to make things happen. He gets back in England squad.
But there's also been a lot of analysis of that. And even Alex Cook said the other day, I heard him say it was lazy media characterisation. He had a couple of decent games, and all of a sudden it was, let's whip United. And it's got nothing to do with ridiculing. It's called observing. Marcus Rashford has brought praise and criticism in equal measure based upon what Marcus Rashford does, not based upon what Marcus Rashford looks like or what he thinks. It's about what his performance is, so it's fair critique.
I think that what the manager is worried about is that obviously Rashford has given off that. We're hearing that he wasn't really giving everything in training, and he's probably, okay, I can't have these players around the younger group. They're very impressionable. So therefore, if I can't guarantee that you're going to apply yourself, you're not going to work with us. But they'll all come back from their tours.
What does that say about the player then? Well, I mean, we're
assuming this to be the case.
Well, you just assumed it. So on the basis of what you just said, if we make your assumption something that has any substance behind it, then what kind of professionals are they? You're a professional footballer. You're still being paid £300,000 a week. Least you can do is come in and motivate yourself to train, if indeed that's the case. If it's not the case, and it's a united front, which is basically, there's no point you being here. The manager's made his position. Rashford made his bed. He's the one that decided to do an interview with his PR department, Henry Winter, and talk about the idea of how awful it was at Manchester United and how much he wanted to leave.
Let's get some context. This is historically the worst manager that Manchester United have ever had.
Yeah.
Full stop.
But Martin,
so that's what we're backing. So if you're a player,
of course, we're not backing the manager.
If you're a player in that situation,
we're not talking about the manager,
and you've broken your relationship with the manager, are you going to sit this one out to see how far he gets?
Well, it's the same. By the same token, we've got other players that want to come and play for Man United that are being courted by other clubs, like the boy at Brentford. So it's not all doom and gloom. The manager has, as you quite rightly say, in this snapshot of 7 months, he's the worst manager that Man United have. If you roll forward 4 months and he wins a few games, he will no longer be the worst manager. But in the current climate of judging people instantaneously, he is the worst statistically.
Which is all we can do, really.
Well, it depends how much we know. And ultimately, the people that are behind the scenes, the people that are making decisions that are informed, know more than we do. What we've seen is a snapshot of time, which has been garbage. And we all concur with that. But the fact of the matter, do we disagree as principle? Garnacho, I mean, he's a pest. Jadon Sancho, a pest. To Ten Hag and to everybody else around. Chelsea don't even want him. Chelsea's sending him back with £5 million with him. I mean, sending him around in the cab and it's £5 million as well. We don't want him, thanks very much. So it tells you all you need to know. I'd have Casemiro in there as well, because he's a waste of time. Clean decks. Get this football club. It needs an enema. this football club, and get it sorted out. And I think it's right to do it. And whether it's the optics are good or not is irrelevant.
Is it not just kicking the can down the road here, Martin? Because if they've got no takers at the moment, why do we think that situation is going to change, Simon, in 2 weeks? And unless Rashford and his people...
6 weeks.
Well, Rashford's got 3 years left on his contract, hasn't he? Allegedly.
Well, he's lost his number 10 shirt. That's gone to Cunha.
He has, but he hasn't lost his livelihood. He hasn't lost his wages. He's still getting paid. He's still under contract.
Yeah, and that's his motivation. Does Rashford want to play in the World Cup? You've got levers to pull. People aren't stupid. There's levers to pull. Everyone's going to have to take a view, and both sides are going to have to take a pill. United might not be able to get 40 million for Rashford. They might be able to get 25. Rashford might not be able to get 300,000. He might be able to get 250. And everyone will horse trade their way through it.
Yeah.
And that's what will eventually happen, I suspect.
It is a reality check, though, Jim, when you find yourself as a player not with the main group, and it's that does kill the ambition, and it starts to. I suppose as a bitter pill. Yeah, and one or two of them might think, do you know what? Let's get the hell out of it.
The only one can possibly be aggrieved and not expecting it. Possibly is Garnacho. Because he's a player, whereas Sancho, that card's been well marked a long time ago. Rashford's card marked his own card, so there can't be any surprise from those two. And the other ones we're talking about, I'm not so sure of. But the only one that I would think that possibly might cock an eye at it, although he wouldn't, would he? Because he's full of himself, is Garnacho.
We spoke earlier, Alex, about the so-called Manchester United outcasts, and we know who they are. Are we any further down the line to knowing any likely destinations?
I think at the moment, Antony to Real Betis is probably the most advanced. Obviously had a decent spell on loan with them, helped them to the Conference League final, didn't play particularly well in that final when they came up against Chelsea. So I think that one probably will happen. In terms of the rest, Tyrone Malacia, they're not knocking down Ruben Amorim's door to get him out of Old Trafford. Jadon Sancho wasn't willing to take a pay cut to join Chelsea, so I think his wages are going to be a problem for a lot of the clubs who are in for him, the likes of Juventus and Fenerbahce over in Turkey. I heard Simon this morning mocking Marcus Rashford and his desire to play for Barcelona. I get where he's coming from. I think if he gets that opportunity, he's a very lucky boy on form, Marcus Rashford. But we know they're not back at training today. We know Rashford's number 10 jersey has been given to Matheus Cunha. Again, I'd love to know what Simon feels about this from a boardroom perspective. By giving his shirt number away, by telling him to stay away from training, are you not just diminishing the asset and lowering what you can ask for in terms of a transfer fee because clubs know you're desperate to get him off the wage bill?
Well, was it a secret before then?
I guess not. But, you can play the game, can't you? If you're Ruben Amorim.
Yeah, but everybody, the two biggest commodities in football are gossip and money. And everybody knows everyone else's business. So there'll be no secrets. The fact that they've entrenched their position, concentrated the player's mind, and made sure his representation clearly understand you've got to get your backsides in gear. There's a problem for us all here, not just us. We got money. We'd like to get you out because of PSR, but we've got billionaires behind our football club. You've got a career. And if you want to play in World Cups and if you want to make sure that you are able to ply your trade beyond the contract that you've got right now, you probably need to be a bit more motivated.
Yeah.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.